I had an agent reached out and said, hey, I've got a buyer. They're buying new construction. They were going through the builder's lender. The builder can't get them approved. And so we said, all right, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's see what we can do. And the situation, it means a lot because the buyer had moved down here for a job, and the holidays are approaching, and his wife and his young child were still in Georgia, and they weren't going to be together unless this house could go to closing and they could actually buy. And there was definitely some hurdles to jump, but at the end of the day, we ended up getting the job done and getting them closed. And they were just so grateful, not just to buy a house, but to be reunited with his family and his little girl.
That's touching.
Sitting at closing, and when tears start coming out, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna get teared up. But being able to do things like that when others can't, that's the part that's really rewarding.
Welcome to the Studio 321 podcast, powered by Brightway, the Steve Trout Agency. We're sitting down with real estate pros, insurance nerds, mortgage masterminds, and local legends who are making moves on the Space Coast. Hosted by the best insurance crew in the 321. At Studio 321, it's all about community, real connections, and sharing a few laughs along the way. Strap in, let's launch into today's episode. Today on the Studio 321 podcast, I'm excited to welcome Donny Panasis, Producing Branch Manager with Embrace Home Loans. Donny has spent the last decade in the mortgage industry, starting right here on the Space Coast and working across credit unions, banks, and mortgage companies before landing at Embrace earlier this year, a place he says is home for the rest of his career. Along the way, he's built a reputation as a consistent top producer and trusted problem solver, especially for buyers who were told no before. What really stands out about Donny is his focus on trust, communication, and follow-through. He's helped hundreds of families, from first-time homebuyers and veterans to self-employed borrowers and investors, overcome credit and income challenges and turn homeownership into a reality. Today, we're going to dive into some powerful lending options, how to prepare financially before ever writing an offer, and why having the right lender in your corner can make all the difference. Yeah. Donny, welcome to Studio 321.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Man? Steve, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
No, man, we really, I'm really happy to have you in. You definitely have been making a name for yourself, and yeah, that's why you're here, man. We're trying to get the best in the business in the studio. So
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So take us back, man. Tell us your story, kind of, from the beginning.
Okay.
How you ended up on the Space Coast and how you got into lending.
Okay. Well, originally I was born in California, actually.
Oh.
So my parents worked for the space program. So when they started landing the shuttle over here, that's kind of how our family evolved and came to Brevard County. I grew up in Titusville, actually. And obviously, after I graduated high school, got out of there as soon as I could.
I hear a lot about that.
Yeah. No, Titusville's definitely getting better, but I've been in Melbourne since about 2003. So, yeah, going on 23 years in the Melbourne area.
Gotcha.
So love it here. Yeah, call it home. Originally, I went into lending in 2016.
Okay.
Started at a local credit union, learned the ropes and, basic guidelines. And then, once I got a feel for guidelines and ropes, I went, whoa, okay, let's go somewhere else, Yeah. They're not necessarily doing it the way that it should be done, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Went into big bank. I joined TD Bank, I think, in 2018 and did a few years there. Great bank, great experience, but it's still big bank. So trying to get, referral partners to send you business, when you're at a big bank can sometimes be challenging. Yeah. Missing closing dates, that kind of thing. A lot of overlays and additional guidelines that we had to meet. So in 23, I believe, I went to the mortgage firm, which loved the company and was there for a few years as an IMB, independent mortgage banker, right? Different investors, but being able to go direct was definitely the way for me.
Yeah.
love them to death. But in December of 24, Steve Thaggard was branch manager at the time of Embrace, and called me up and said, hey, Donnie, I've decided to kind of take a step back and spend more time with the family. And don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to work here, but I don't want to manage anymore. I just want to produce my own business and worry about myself and spend some more time with the family. And which was super cool. But he said, with me taking a step back, I'd love to kind of nominate you and have you be my replacement. Do I have your permission to share your information? And, at the time I said, hey, I appreciate it. I'm happy where I'm at, but I'll talk to anybody. But yeah, go ahead and share my information. So that was in the beginning of December, 3-month interview process of kind of getting to know each other. Yeah, it was a long process, but they wanted to do their due diligence, making sure they were bringing in the right person to replace Steve, and I wanted to do yours. I wanted to do mine and make sure that the company is, everything it had to offer met my expectations. So
that's incredible.
So February I joined and took over for Steve's job. I still have Steve there, which Steve and Karen absolutely love them to death.
Love Steve and
they're
Karen.
the best. They were actually one of our first guests on the podcast.
I know. But yeah, love them to death. And Steve put his trust in me to take over, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since. So
that's awesome, man.
I'm loving Embrace.
And recruiting, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, love Embrace, love the company, love the people. But what really stands out with our company is the culture. And you explain that to people. I was talking to Catherine that just joined our team, and I actually worked with her at the mortgage firm, and then she went and did her thing on the broker side and just came and joined us. But I was talking to her, and I'm like, it's hard to explain our culture to people without them actually experiencing it.
Yeah.
And so when she joined, we actually flew her up to our corporate headquarters in Rhode Island. And so she got to start from there and meet all the executives and go out to dinner and really get a feel for the
best way to start.
Exactly. Yeah. So she really got to get a good feel for our culture, which is really what I believe what sets us apart.
Yeah. That you said that's going to be your home forever now.
Yeah. I
hope so.
Yeah, that's a bold statement.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that is.
I mean, but no, that's great. I mean, that
speaks
says
volumes.
a lot about Embrace and how they take care of their people and like the culture you guys are building, obviously.
We have our ops manager that's in charge of like processing, underwriting, closing, just celebrated her 38th year anniversary.
Wow, that says a lot.
So if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what does.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, our CEO Dennis started the company in 1983. So yeah, we've been around for about 43 years, and she's been there for 38 of it. So
wow,
and that's just one example. We've got plenty of others that have been here so
that's inspiring
long.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a really good crew there, man. Who else is on the team?
So we've got obviously Steve and Karen Thaggard. We have Chris Wurzbacher.
Oh, Chris, love Chris.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yep. Dominique Spar, who actually was in real estate. She was an agent herself, and she actually moved to Tennessee. So being in Tennessee, she switched over to the mortgage side and said, "Let me try that," and she's absolutely killing it. So
in Tennessee.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. Still originating here as well as there. So yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. We also have Michelle Denard out of Titusville, and she joined us last year as well. And absolute one of the sweetest people that you'd ever meet, but just has a lot of experience, a lot of care for her clients, and a lot of knowledge to just be able to get the job done. So Steve, Karen, Chris, Dominique, Michelle, Catherine Rivas just joined us.
Okay,
that's big. And
we have another new hire that's starting soon that I don't want to announce just yet, but that's going to be coming right around the corner.
Wow.
Hernando Ceballos is
We love
yeah.
My guy.
Yeah, he was our loan partner at the mortgage firm, and we brought him over here now.
Gotcha.
Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anybody.
Yeah, I know it's hard when you put on the spot like that.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
you don't want to forget anybody.
Yeah, I'm like,
no, but man, I wanted you to say it because you got a really
out.
awesome crew, man. A really good group of people that are great to be around. You know what I mean? And like you were saying, the culture you guys are building is pretty awesome.
The care that they take of their clients is just second to none. So it's definitely awesome.
Yeah.
So you're known as a consistent top producer, and now you're the branch manager there. What do you think separates good leaders from great ones?
The care that you put into it, right? One of my favorite quotes is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
And that's
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
You need to send that to me.
yeah.
That's a good one.
I sent it to you last night. Send the email.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. My sister, we need to read. We need to read everything.
But yeah, no, just being there for them, right? And just letting them know that you care. Leadership isn't about being the boss, because a lot of these people that I work with, I don't want them to look at me as like the person in charge. I just want them to look at me as like as their security. Like they can always reach out to me anytime and get the help that they need. So, just being that teammate more than anything, that's boots on the ground. I'm in the field right there with them, and just being able to share stuff that maybe has helped me, that can help them. That's really the part of growing a team. So it's not about being in charge or being the boss. It's just about being there for them and providing that care.
Yeah, that support. And I always
providing the support, making sure they have the tools to do the right, to do the job. Sorry, I'm talking over you.
No, I'm just saying that you're that guy.
Yeah.
I always tell him all the time, like, I don't feel like I'm working for you. I feel like I'm working beside you. You know what I mean? And I think that speaks, volumes what a true leader is. You don't feel like you're micromanaging. You feel like you're just strictly like supporting what they need to be successful.
Feels more like a family,
yeah,
right, than a job or a boss or whatever. Yeah. You create that family-like atmosphere, and that's what builds the culture, and then that's what builds the loyalty.
Yeah.
Like
loyalty's
if you have the right people with the right mentality and they have a good work ethic and they want to be successful, and they want to hit their goals and they want to reach their goals, it's not really about me coming in here going, why aren't you doing this? It's more about, hey, how do we help you achieve what you want to achieve?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when you have the right people on board, it's almost easy, right? Like, so, having the right people does matter, because you can have somebody that isn't driven, isn't goal oriented, and then it's, those are the type of people that, you gotta, this is a little bit harder to deal with, right? Because in this environment, and like a sales environment, this is what we are here at Brightway, our field offices, our sales offices. So we're very similar to the mortgage industry of like everybody's on board to the goals of the sales of the office. Like we don't do our service work internally here and in the office. That's handled by my corporate office. So like we spend 100% of our time working on where are we going to find new business? You know what I mean? And so we're very similar in that way, in the way we build our teams. Well, and goal setting, right? Because we've just come into 26, so we're all setting goals and all that. So I think it's important to not just know what your team's goals are, but to understand the why behind it. Why do you want that to be your goal? Yeah. Why do you want to hit that? Because if you know the why and what that means to them, that helps you understand why that goal is important to them. And it gives you the motivation to be able to, okay, let me help you hit this goal because you understand what that means to you. Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's the new year, right? We're just into 26. So what's your New Year's resolution?
Oh man, personally, my New Year's resolution is I need to get. So I've been focusing on my health over the last couple of years. Had some health challenges and really got focused on my health, but kind of going into the holidays of 25, I slipped pretty hard, and so I got to get back on my feet and kind of get refocused. Because when I'm healthy, I'm a much happier, driven person. You know what I mean? Like everything just else falls into place, and so I got to get my health in order. And so that's my huge personal goal, is to really kind of step that up and get that in alignment. But professionally, we're going to grow this team. We're going to add some people this year. I plan on having the best year we've ever had from a numbers perspective, and we're trying to be, I like to say we try to be everywhere, whether it's with this podcast, at events, like really showing our face, being a sponsor of stuff, like just getting out and making sure that, our competitors don't have a leg up on us anywhere. You know what I mean? And so, that's the truth. Like, we're just laser focused this year on growing this business and putting the pedal down. my business is getting really exciting again, because we're not dealing with the double-digit rate increases and the stuff that was, kind of causing us a lot of stress and then making us kind of look backwards at our current book. So now that we can kind of focus looking forward and growing our book again, it's getting fun, and so
It is going to be fun. I'm excited. That's where I'm at right now too. Like I want to continue to build and get out there and assist Jamie Rood wherever she needs me. No, just
Me too, right?
Yeah.
We actually, so Jamie and I just went into a partnership in a brokerage together. So, it's kind of a new concept.
Okay.
We're being like the in-house preferred lender. Used to just be like one company or one person. And so I have a couple partnerships actually this year that we've just gone into where it's a joint partnership.
Wow,
that's right. I saw you guys make that announcement.
Yeah. So we went into Remax Aerospace.
Yeah, very cool.
And so Jamie and I actually share that brokerage where we have it's a joint venture where we both partner and sponsor that brokerage and just be there and help them. And it's really shown collaboration between competitors.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Goes a long
really
way.
do, yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's definitely, we always say there's enough business for everybody, and not everybody fits, other people's, circle or whatnot and their personalities. So what agent can do for, one referral source they might not be able to do it for the other one, for with another agent, personalities,
Exactly.
they have to vibe, they have to click. So, I mean,
or
like
certain products, right? I did the same thing with Elizabeth Cassidy, where I have a new partnership with Keller Williams Brevard, and Elizabeth Cassidy and I did a joint venture with them as well. So it's not just Remax with Jamie, but I also have Keller Williams with Elizabeth. And Gulfstream Realty Group, they're all mine. So I'm not partnering with anybody. I'm keeping them. I'm keeping them for myself.
No, they're awesome group.
Yeah. They are awesome, and they're growing their brokerage. It's brand new.
They're gonna do big things, man. They're super driven. Yeah, super dedicated to that.
They already have new teammates joining with more on the horizon, just because they do things the right way.
So funny. I'm keeping them to myself.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, relationships are definitely, like I always say, is a driving force of, this industry, your industry, insurance, and, and I honestly love it. Like, it's kind of, people have a drag of going to these meetings and in the morning, but when you're there, it's just like, holy crap, people lift you up, you just don't think about the other stuff. You're ready to work.
And whether you're in real estate or mortgage or insurance, we're all kind of in that same industry. Mm-hmm. And it all boils down to the same principle: is people are going to work with the people they like, right? They're not coming to Brightway because they go, oh, I love Brightway Insurance. They're coming to you guys for you.
Right.
Same with Embrace. Embrace has a great name, but people aren't Googling, Embrace Home Loans. They're Googling best loan officer in Brevard County, and then we pop up. That's how they find us. It's not the company. They're finding us for us and the partnerships that we create.
Very true.
The relationships that we build. So yeah, being present and forming those good partnerships is what it's truly all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I butchered the saying on the last episode, and I'm going to butcher it again. But what is it? The rising tide raises all ships, or something like that, or
you lost me at rising.
No, that's good. The one I always screw up is what, 6 to 1, half dozen to the other. I can never get that one right. Like I butcher it every time, but I constantly try to use it. Like, oh, I'm going to get it right this time. Nope.
You understand it, but you just don't know how to say it. Yeah.
All right, man. Let's talk about some of the loan programs that you got going on. I got to be honest with you. There was some of the stuff that you were mentioning, before the episode. I've never heard of, so I'm actually eager to learn here.
Okay. Well, number one, we've got conventional, right? So we do the Fannie, Freddie, we do all Govy. So we do VA, FHA, USDA, bond. We have all the programs for first-time buyers. We're one of the top lenders in the state for first-time buyers with down payment assistance programs, whether that be bond or TBA or Hometown Heroes or, FHA 100% financing. So those are the
Wow.
basics.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
now that we have
Latte.
those out of the way, yeah.
That's great.
Let's talk about the bond stuff a little bit, or the how do those work? Say I'm a buyer
Mhm.
and I'm getting some first time home buyer assistance, right?
Mhm.
Is that assistance? What are the different options there? So there's a grant, and is that forgivable, or is that always got to be paid back? Like, do they have different programs that are paid back, aren't paid back, or how does that work? Do you know?
Yes. Yeah. So, and there's plenty of different options, and really it just boils down to what the client needs, right? What's right for the client? How long do they plan on staying there? What's their goals financially? How long do they plan on having that mortgage? So there's options that like you said, they're like a grant, where it's money given at closing and then it's forgiven after a certain time.
Okay.
Or even prorated based on the number of payments or the length of time that they've had the loan open.
Yeah.
So those programs are out there, and there's pros and cons with each one, because there's other programs that do always have to be paid back. So they'll give the money at closing, but there's no payments, there's no interest,
It just
anything like
sits
that.
there as like a second loan.
It just sits there as a second lien, and it's only repaid back if they either sell, refinance, or if they stop living there as their primary residence, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, sell or refinance is easy because they're paying off the loan. If they sell it, they're paying off the loan. If they refi it, they're paying off the loan. Vacating as their primary residence is one that's a little bit more rare. But if they keep the house and they just end up buying another house and they live in that one then full time, then they're technically responsible to pay that debt back then as well. So yeah, there's multiple options available. It just boils down to what's best for them, benefits wise. And then there's different qualifications for each program as well. So it depends on what they may qualify for.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then so is most of those, are those only first time home buyer? So like if you're not a first time home buyer, does that negate any of that, or?
Most of them are geared for either first-time buyers or people that haven't owned within the past 3 years.
Okay.
Yes, most of those. Now,
All right.
we have other down payment assistance options for people that aren't first-time home buyers, or maybe their income is over the limit and they don't qualify for first-time buyer programs because they make too much.
Gotcha. Okay.
We still have other.
So there are income limitations as well. Yeah.
There are income limitations, but we do also have other down payment assistance options for people that don't fit the mold for the first-time buyer or that make too much.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you work with a lot of self-employed borrowers. How is non-QM lending changing the game for them?
Self-employed borrowers, right, when it's tax time, you go to your accountant and you say, hey, I want to get the most amount of write-offs that you can because I want to limit my tax liability, right? If you're smart and you do your taxes, you're always going to find the maximum amount of write-offs, which is great for tax time, but is bad when it comes to qualifying for a mortgage because it reduces their usable income to qualify. So obviously we try to go the standard traditional route first, but there's so many different loan options now that for not first-time buyers, for self-employed people, let's say their taxes don't show enough income. We've got so many different options like bank statement programs where we can qualify just based on the deposits that's going into their business bank accounts. P&L where we have programs where there's no taxes, no bank statements, just give me your P&L from your CPA or your accountant and we can qualify you that way. All else fails and they don't have any of the money. We even have a no ratio, no income, no doc loan that they don't look at income at all. It is based solely on credit score and the amount that they're putting down.
Is that for investors or is that for primary also?
No, primary, primary or second homes with that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
For investors, we have DSCR.
Okay. Explain that to us.
Yeah. So for those that may not be too familiar with that program, DSCR stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. And what that means is, if you're buying an investment property, if that rental income is gonna cover the mortgage, you qualify. The property literally qualifies itself. So
okay, that makes sense.
Right. So rather than basing it on your income, you're basing it on the projected rental income or the current rental income if you have tenants already. and that qualifies for the mortgage rather than using income at all. So a lot of times that comes in handy, whether it be for a first-time investor that's just wanting to get into it, or it could be an investor that owns 40 different investment properties and it's just way too complicated, or their cash flow, doesn't qualify. It's a way for them to grow their portfolio as well, that they don't have to use income to qualify at all.
Oh, that's awesome.
And by the way, so here's the cool thing. In other companies that I've worked with, we've had some of these programs, but we have to go to kind of these outside investors, what's like a broker program.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing with all these is we underwrite all these in-house.
Oh, okay.
So
Very
we have
nice.
in-house underwriting, in-house processing, our own investors. So we're able to do this not only on an in-house basis, but it allows us to offer better pricing. So what it means to the borrower is better rates.
How often do you guys do that?
Quite a lot.
Quite a lot. Yeah. I'm hearing that.
Yeah. We closed almost 50 last year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a really nice program. I didn't even know that. So I'm going to keep that in my back pocket.
Yeah.
And it says you offer a guaranteed on-time closing. Why does certainty matter so much right now?
Well, so in the beginning of the show, I mentioned, why I left big bank. One of those reasons is realtors are reluctant to send business to big bank just because they're known for missing closing dates, right? So why is that so important? I'll give you an example. We have a deal that's going right now that not only are they purchasing a new condo, the purchase of that condo is contingent on the fact that they sell their current house. Well, when they purchase that condo, the people that are selling that condo are also buying another house that's contingent on them selling.
Oh my gosh, like domino effect.
The house they're buying, those sellers are contingent. So there's literally 4 different sets of families.
Wow.
That if this doesn't close on time, it's a domino effect. It's going to throw off 4 other families from closing on their purchase. Crap. So, closing on time is super important.
Oh, yeah.
Not just from a timing standpoint, but the flow of it. If you plan everything that, all right, I know this is closing on this date, and I've got this coming in to the agents, that's how they get paid.
Yeah.
That could be their mortgage payment. That could be, they count on that money.
Absolutely.
So closing on time is very important. And there's plenty of, every lender out there is going to tell you, we have the best technology and we close on time and all this, right? Well, we put our money where our mouth is. So if we miss the closing date, we give the seller a check for $5,000, no questions asked.
Holy
Wow.
cow, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that is a big deal.
Yeah.
Obviously, we rarely do it, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah, you're putting your money where your mouth is, though.
Right.
Right.
Right. So yeah, it's very important to us. We do not miss closing dates.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and your thing about if you miss a closing date, it's a cascade effect, right? It affects their next purchase, or it affects that seller's next purchase or whatever, right?
And it stresses people out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's the most.
Yeah.
It's the most probably rewarding and happiest time, but also the most stressful time for the buyer or seller.
Yeah, and you never want to make that phone call. Hey,
Yeah.
we need to push your closing back. And here's why. That's never a fun phone call
Yeah.
to make.
Yeah.
So just don't miss it.
Yeah, and we always say who you work with matters.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So the fact that you guys are putting money behind what you're saying, it's huge.
Do you guys even say that up front?
Yeah.
Is that something you advertise?
Yeah. So in fact, not only do we say it up front, but everyone gives their pre-approval letter. So when buyers go to submit their offer, they submit the offer and here's my pre-approval letter to show that I'm able to buy, right? Well, this is something we issue a certificate.
That's what I was going to ask you next.
We issue a certificate. So it's like, hey, here's my offer. Here's my pre-approval letter. Oh, and by the way, here's a certificate that guarantees we're going to close on time. Which kind of leads me to the next thing. Speaking of guarantees and all that, we offer something that's called approved to close, which means if we go through the process and for any reason we don't close, let's say the buyer loses their job a week before closing, right? They can't close. Well, we come behind them with a backup cash offer. So we guarantee that that's going to close. Even if the buyer can't, we come in and buy the house cash.
Wow.
Or give the sellers a check for $10,000 if they want to relist it and put it back on the market. That's up to them. But yeah, so we guarantee that we're going to close.
Man, that's freaking powerful stuff.
That is.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. That's really cool. I've never heard anybody else doing anything like that.
Because they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's segment first. So these are some of our proprietary programs that only we do, that others just don't in the business, and that's one of the things that sets us apart. One of the other things that we do too is called a property value certificate. So before an offer is actually under contract, before the offer gets accepted, we have a team that works 7 days a week, and we submit the listing to them, and we submit the qualifications, and our team looks at it and goes, okay, we'll guarantee the value of that property. So it allows buyers to be able to waive their appraisal contingency. So if they go under contract and the appraiser goes out there and we get the appraisal report back in and the
It's
appraisal
not,
comes in
yeah.
low, guess what? We don't care
It
what that
doesn't
value
matter.
says. We've already guaranteed the value,
Wow.
and we go off of our number.
My God.
Yeah, so the buyers don't have to bring anything additional to closing. They don't have to pay PMI if it comes in low and now their loan to value is above 80%. We guarantee the value up front.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and it's like just thinking of the big picture, you're really offering consistency and working with you guys. You're offering that like
That guarantee.
things aren't going to be all over the place. There's not going to be
Yeah.
not a gotcha, but like we
A
got
hurdle that
problem or
comes up.
hurdle.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
way less hurdles for everybody to overcome.
Yeah, everyone's waiting
guys
on
are-
the appraisal,
Yeah.
right? Once we order the appraisal, everyone's waiting on it. Realtors and the transaction coordinators, hey, do we have appraisal back yet? Because we're worried that the value isn't going to come in.
Yeah,
Well, it takes that worry away from day one when we can guarantee the value.
yeah. What advice do
Very-
you give to realtors when choosing a lender? Like, what would you say to a realtor of why like choosing your lender wisely really matters?
My agents know that number one, they can reach me at any time, day or night. You have to be available for them when they need you.
Yeah.
And they have to know and have the confidence that you get the job done. There's so many different lenders. It's like choosing your realtor.
Yeah.
There's over 5,000 realtors in this county. How do you know you're picking the right one? So it's their track record, their reputation, their knowledge, communication and transparency are huge with me. In fact, a lot of times I over communicate. I tell the realtors, hey, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm going to tell you where we stand at all times. Whether it's good news or bad news, I'm going to tell you right away. There's so many lenders that they run into issues and they want to hide behind it. They don't want to tell people what's going on. Well, nothing good comes of that, right?
Wow.
So these are all hurdles that, there's in every deal, there's always hurdles to jump. But if we jump through them as a team and we all cross
Face
that
them.
finish line, that finish line together, that's what really makes the difference.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, advice on who to choose for your lender is make sure that you're confident in who you're working with, that's present, that's always going to be there to answer your calls and messages and emails, and that you can constantly get a hold of, and someone that not only has the best product lineup, everything to offer, but also has the best rates, right? No one wants to send a lender, hey, let me refer you business, but then your buyer goes and shops around and goes, yeah, the person you sent me had like the highest rates. What's up with that?
Mm.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to offer good products and good terms too.
Absolutely.
Well, I kind of wanted to hear has there been a very a transaction that just sticks with you, that you're just was like in an emotional state and you just had to like make something happen for them?
Yeah, you know what? So this was kind of a recent one. This was only a couple months ago, but I had an agent reached out and said, "Hey, I've got a buyer that they're buying new construction, and they were going through the builder's lender, and we ran into issues. The builder can't get them approved, and so I took a look at the scenario and ran it past my team, because I have an underwriter that I work. I have a dedicated underwriter that
Very nice.
on my team. So I called my underwriter, ran the situation, the scenario by her, and so we said, all right, you know what, let's go for it. Let's see what we can do. And the situation, it means a lot, because the buyer had moved down here for a job. Can't remember where. I think maybe SpaceX or somewhere out there, but moved down here for work, right? And the holidays are approaching, and his wife and his young child were still in Georgia, you know, and they weren't going to be together unless this house could go could go to closing and they could actually buy. And there was definitely some hurdles to jump, and it was definitely tough. But at the end of the day, we ended up getting the job done and getting them closed, and they were just so grateful, not just to buy a house, but to be reunited with his family and his little girl.
That's touching.
You know, sitting at closing, and when tears start coming out, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna get teared up. But being able to do things like that when others can't, that's the part that's really rewarding.
It is.
No, it's powerful,
sure.
man. I mean, it's not all just about like you know, obviously you guys are working with the numbers and behind the scenes doing a lot of things people don't know about, but like that connection that you're building
Makes
with
an
your
impact.
buyers and referral partners and all that makes such a huge impact.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, that's why we all do this.
Exactly.
Right? Like it's just so rewarding when you can help somebody out of a difficult situation or get, whatever it is.
Those are the most rewarding. I feel like, the ones that no one else can do, and you literally show up and you just take off your jacket and you go to, war with it. I mean, I love complicated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I like to dig deeper because that reinvents you, and it's like, wow, I didn't think I was capable of doing that. Or I didn't even know I had that product, to be able to do that. You know what I mean? And it just makes you grow as an agent as well.
100%. Yeah, there's another quote actually that I love, and it's adversity doesn't build character, it reveals it.
That one's good too.
So when you're up against something tough like that, and to be able to get through it on a positive note and make it happen, and when you see that appreciation, when your buyers are just truly appreciative of everything you did, and they're like, "Thank you so much. Like we wouldn't have been here without you." And knowing everything that you went through to get there, you're like, yeah, that's true. You wouldn't be here without me.
Yeah, you're making a real impact.
Exactly. But that's the stuff that really makes a difference and makes our jobs all worth it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It makes me feel, humble and, have a purpose. I think purpose is definitely the word of this year, purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think something that, a lot of people struggle with in our business, whether it's insurance or real estate or mortgages or whatever, is that like family, career, life balance. How do you handle that? Or are you pretty good at that? Or is that something you're always working for?
Man, that kind of goes back to my New Year's resolution, which is, just to be more present, because, going into a new role with a new company and all that, there's sacrifices that our families make because, there's so many times that we put our jobs first, I've been so busy before with getting everyone else taken care of that I've literally forgot to pay my own bills, and I'm like, oh man, how did that slip my mind? But I'm so dedicated to everyone else, getting everyone else taken care of, that sometimes that to-do list it doesn't end. And so you have to be purposeful about where you put your time, whether that's at work. And so that's one of the things going into this new year is, when I'm at work, it is literally every single second of that day is spent doing something productive and purposeful.
Yes.
But then also when I go home, it's being purposeful with the time I spend with my family and being able to put that work away, which sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
But you have to do it.
Well, isn't it a little hard when you guys are working under the same roof? Doing because I know you mentioned oh, Brittany's right there. She says hi. And you're
Yeah. Well, and I very rarely work from home. I have a home office, but our whole team is in the office every day.
Yeah,
gotcha.
We like that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and like last night I went home and worked.
Is that on purpose? Is that something you guys require, or is that something that just the culture has built and people want to be there?
Yeah, not a requirement. It's just something we all love, that collaboration of being able to go in and work together and we get things done. And it's just, you learn so much just by your colleagues, like listening to whatever scenarios,
conversations,
conversations and scenarios they're going through, and you pick up that knowledge that you just don't get if you're by yourself at home.
Yeah, that's true. I know. I was. We were talking before about COVID and stuff like that. I was the first agent to come back. I was like, I can't do this.
Oh yeah.
It was like a dark cloud.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, I need to get dressed up. I need to get my hair done. I need to put makeup on and look like I'm
Brittany,
normal.
Yeah. Brittany and I have said all the time, we're like, hey, if we can make it through COVID, we can literally make it through anything. Like,
Oh, as a couple, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
because my wife works from home every day.
Okay.
Yeah, you were saying last night what happened? You said you were saying something happened last night.
I don't remember.
Steve.
Yeah.
He interrupted you.
Squirrel.
Yeah,
Squirrel. I don't know.
But you
So-
also wait. Hold on. I just want to you have a little girl too. You guys
Yep.
have a little girl.
Kenley's 12 and just brought home her report card yesterday, straight A's.
Oh,
Again.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And that's also like such a great accomplishment as a parent when your kid bring these accolades home and you're just like, oh, thank God. You know what I mean? It's a weight lifted off of you, right?
it's insane because she's her hardest critic, you know? And,
Yeah.
and I see a lot of that in myself, that there's no coaching or anything anyone can tell me that I haven't already beat myself up for.
Oh, yeah.
And she's the same way, you know?
Wow.
She puts a lot of pressure on herself to get good grades, and
That's awesome though. I mean, but to have like parents that, you know, co-parenting and all that stuff, it's you know, to, you know, have that support for them. I mean, it's like a whole love bomb for them, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she does all that on top of being on 4 competition dance teams
Yeah,
too.
I see that. Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
she's insane. You know, I always say I want to be her when I grow up.
I know. I say that to Ray all the time. I do say that to Ray. I'm like, these kids now, they're just so like different, you know? Yeah.
It's insane. Yeah. The level of maturity and just, you know, looking at a 12-year-old and going, gosh, 6th grade, straight A's. And she asked me last night to help her with a math problem. I do math for a living, and I had to bust out Chat GPT. Just
Yeah,
I'm like,
no. They're
you know,
yeah.
I don't even understand the question, you know? So she
Right.
had to explain it to me. I'm like, this, you know, my 6th grader is teaching me what the math question means. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. I know.
Time to
these
go back
kids
to
are
school,
so
right?
resilient. I love it.
What do you guys do as a family for fun?
We're big Disney people, so we go to
Okay.
Disney an awful lot, and we go camping, and we have a travel trailer, so we like to go camping because we have 2 dogs as well, Ryland and Jenny. So we like to bring them camping with us. We're going to get a Fort Wilderness next month, but we like to travel. You know, last year we went to, was it last year or the year before? I can't remember, but we went to Turks and Caicos.
Okay.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So love to travel. Travel, Disney, and dance. You know, dance. We're going into dance season, so that takes up a lot of time.
What's
It
Dad's
does.
favorite ride at Disney?
I don't do any of the scary ones, right? So
There's scary rides at Disney.
I know. So I'll do like Mine Train or like Thunder Mountain.
Oh, I love Thunder Mountain.
And what Tiana's is the new name, but it's the old Splash Mountain.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
She's got me to do that one with her, but like I don't do Space Mountain. I don't do like Guardians of the Galaxy or nope.
Oh,
I'm
those are
out.
the best.
But my daughter, she'll ride anything. Like
Yeah,
Tower of Terror, bring it on. Velocicoaster,
good
she'll do
too.
it. You know, like she'll do anything, and I'm like, no, I'm past that
Stay
prime.
on the ground.
Yeah.
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 That's awesome.
Who do you have for the Super Bowl?
Oh.
Who's your prediction?
Man,
I want the Bears.
Super Bowl. Honestly, I thought the Jags had a chance this year to go all the way.
They had a great season.
And I thought the Eagles.
Yeah.
I literally thought it was going to be like an Eagles-Jags Super Bowl in my mind. So that's who I would have put my money on. But now I think it's going to be the Bills and the Niners.
Bills and the Niners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really hope the Bears come through.
The Bears.
The Bears. My family's from Chicago. I was
We'll
born
see
in
if that
Chicago,
prediction
so-
lives well after today.
I
Right.
hope.
Right.
Because, I mean, Dallas is never going to get there.
All right. Well, I'll go on the record then and say I think my Pats are going to pull it off.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So I mean,
That's a bold prediction.
Yeah, that is.
it's recorded, so we'll see. You know, now when it happens, we can look back on the recording. You know, and go to the show. I said it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I had forgot about earlier was, like when you're looking to work with insurance agents, what are you looking for? Like, what is important to you in that process, and like what when you're kind of deciding on who you work with in the marketplace, what's most important to you?
So most important to me is this is more of kind of a process wise, but when you try to refer over a borrower, that needs insurance, right? Because that's one of the requirements for closing. So many times I'd send the quote request over. Hey, please prepare a quote for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, blah blah blah, primary residence, and all this good stuff. So many times we heard back like, okay, well, when you have the 4-point and WinMit, send that over and we'll get a quote for you. You're dead in the water. Like if you do that, you don't even have a shot at getting that referral or that business.
Yeah.
So, how you prepare the quote is up to you, but just send a quote.
Yeah.
So
you need that number. Yeah.
And it's like, hey, in my email template, I even say like, hey, we don't have a 4-point and WinMit yet. We'll send it over when we get it. So whether you prepare the quote and just assume that those credits are going to be there, or whether you kind of hit, not the lowest, but not the highest, you kind of hit it somewhere in the middle. However you get there, prepare the quote, send the quote. If you don't provide the quote and give the borrower something to look at, then that doesn't even start the conversation.
Right.
Correct.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like buying a car. You say, hey, give me a price or give me a payment.
You gotta have a starting point.
Give me a starting point.
It's not going to be 100% accurate.
Right.
We might not have the full inspection, or the inspection might come back way better than we think it's going to.
But it's going to be very close.
Yeah, we're.
But that's why it all depends on who you work with, right? I mean,
Correct.
Someone that really knows the market, knows the, carriers that they're working with, and, can just see a home from what it is and be like, okay, I know exactly where this is going to go, in certain situations, an older roof or, plumbing or, just some minor issue. Some agents do put a hold on everything just for that. And it's just, I like, how I process. I don't do that. I'm more of like a yes person, and I'm going to, try to make this transaction as smooth and comprehensible as I can. And that's just to educate and to let you know that, hey, this can get done, then we're golden. But I mean, it's all about being transparent.
Well, and that's what I was going to say as well is do the quote, do the initial quote, just so I can forward it on to our buyer and say, hey, here's a couple quotes I got for you. You could even do like a good, better, best. Hey, here's 3 quotes depending on the coverage that you'd like, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I send that over, forward that over to our borrower, and then kind of do an introduction. And then that kind of opens up the door for you to like, all right, let's review these coverages. Let's make sure that you don't want bare bones, but you're not insuring the Taj Mahal, right? Let's find what's the right coverage for you. So that opens the door for you to educate them about that. So that's kind of my process of how I like to do it is gather some quotes, then make the introduction, and kind of take that off their plate because their head's spinning a million miles an hour just buying this home. There's so many different things to think about and worry about that insurance a lot of times is kind of one of those things that just it puts them over the edge.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Not a lot of people, including myself, understand insurance fully. So to be able to kind of take that off their plate and say, hey, let's pick a policy with an agent that knows the right coverage level, that's not killing you on premium, but making sure that you have adequate and good coverage. I think that's what it's all about. And then it's kind of up to them to really reach into that in-depth discussion and education to see if they want to change any of the coverages or, whatever that looks like.
I like our products.
Yeah,
because
and like you were saying, like just get me the quote. It's so important for you guys from a debt to income ratio standpoint. And in this market, it's so difficult for you guys to estimate insurance now because you could be in Merritt Island and it could be 10 grand or it can be 3 grand. I mean, it can make a huge difference.
Right.
And so that quote is important to at least give you a ballpark of, okay, this is what we're dealing with. This is, a pretty decent estimate because it can swing things left and right on a deal.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
Yeah. Or there's a lot of times where I'll reach out to the agent and say, hey, I need this premium to be at or below this number for us to make this work.
We like that too.
Yeah, the 3 things like I really want our team concentrating on this year is be the grease, not the squeaky wheel. Get them a quote, like you said. Speed kills in my industry. Like speed is king. Be speedy. turn them around fast, and we can do that, right? Like
I
that's
think
what we
same
do.
day is
Yeah.
adequate, right? You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't
Oh, yeah.
have to be 20 minutes, but it
Yeah.
also can't be 20 hours, you know?
But speed matters. I mean, you guys are working on good face, you're working on deals, and you know, speed matters. If we're the first back, we're gonna have a way better
You're
chance to get
never
it.
gonna hear about
You know what I mean?
We're always gonna hear every single podcast. You're gonna put that in there too.
I know. Well, it's just such a big deal.
And it's
It
true.
is.
And you know, if we
100%.
really want to take things to the next level,
hmm
those are the things we really got to focus on.
So let me ask you this question. Do you normally see, is it normally the mortgage people, the lenders that are reaching out for quotes or referrals, or is it the agents? Do a lot of agents go to you
It's
directly?
a lot, yeah. I mean, my favorite referral partner is a
Referral-
mortgage
or a
person.
mortgage, yeah.
Mortgage people control the deal more. They're more involved in the financial end of things, which is, you know, we're in that. You know, you guys are putting the numbers together based on our thing. If you guys recommend us, it means a lot to that buyer. Same with the realtor. If they recommend us, it means a lot to the buyer. But like you guys do volume, it's a funnel, right? Like realtors will do a little bit less. They funnel it down to you. You're going to do more volume, funnel it down to us. So if we can get to the mortgage broker, we're going to get more volume out of you.
And then
You
if
know.
we work directly, I mean, you don't have to worry about adding the mortgagee clause or the
Correct.
loan number.
It's like we already have all that. So when the
Right.
buyer's like, hey, I want to move forward, we can just do it.
And that's
know,
what I tell, the borrower.
know.
I just say, hey, just let us know which option you want to go with, and we'll request all the documents
Yeah.
directly from the agent.
Yeah. And it makes it easy. Like if we have a relationship, it'll be like, if working with you, hey, Steve, we need this tweaked or whatever, we can get right with the buyer. Like we just have, if you have that relationship, it can really make the transaction easy.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, mortgage brokers are our number one referral partner, but realtors are a huge part of our business too. I mean, they send us a lot of business. So a lot of times when a realtor's showing a house, they'll reach out to us, up front, wanting to know, hey, they're looking at these 3 houses or whatever, and insurance might make the difference.
Right.
You know what I mean? So stuff like that. But yeah, we get them from, mortgage brokers are our number one, realtors number 2, and then our current customers send us a ton of business.
Mm-hmm.
They tell their neighbors, and as our book grows, our book feeds itself. So.
Let me ask you this question, because as we go into 26, I believe Citizens now, anything that requires over 400,000 in coverage level is going to require flood.
Correct.
Yeah.
Are you seeing a lot of policies that are going somewhere other than
Oh, yeah,
Citizens,
for
whereas
sure.
last year we
Absolutely.
maybe would have written it through
Oh my gosh,
Citizens?
the market right now is definitely going in a positive direction. We are seeing a lot more takeout companies, and when the depopulation program, I mean, it's not a negative thing. It's just showing like our market is really turning into a positive market. So, I mean, that means other carriers that have been in the market, they're going to start getting competitive, and they're going to start decreasing, rates and stuff like that. And those are, the memos that we are getting, be prepared for rate decreases. I got a customer the other day that, was just like, this is weird. My policy decreased $600. And I'm like, yeah, that is pretty weird, right?
Don't see that very
Like,
often, right?
I was like, that's awesome. At coverage change, yep, your coverage went up a little bit, but your policy went down $600. And he's like, I was like, let's roll with it,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that excites us, and those are things that we want to educate, you guys and, every, people that are in the industry and, buyers out there and, current owners, just, hey, there's definitely positive things coming in the pipeline.
No, absolutely. Citizens depops are happening at a rapid rate. So most of those aren't even getting to the renewal.
They aren't immediately,
Wow.
like 2
'cause
months
Citizens
later,
is-
they're getting depopped.
Yeah. So, basically Citizens is finding a better deal in the marketplace, and that new carrier is taking it out from Citizens before it even gets to its renewal, before the flood is even
Before the mortgage
requirement.
gets bought out.
Correct.
Wow. Well, I mean, that might be nice for the borrower then, right? For the insured.
No,
because
absolutely.
They
It's
don't
a
have to do
positive
anything.
thing. As the market improves and as
Nothing.
Citizens shrinks, it's good for the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Citizens, in a lot of ways, has put undue pressure on the carriers. Like Citizens became too big, and that's part of what helped the market start to fail. A few years ago, was when you can't compete against basically a government carrier.
Yeah.
you know.
And this,
Right,
and the
right.
state carriers pretty much telling these other carriers, get your shit together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so, you know, the Citizens is heavily subsidized. So it's like an unfair advantage in the marketplace. And that's never really their position. They're supposed to be the carrier of last resort. And so as that becomes true and they become the carrier of last resort, the whole marketplace gets really healthy. And that's what we're seeing now. So Citizens is shrinking at the fastest rate it's ever shrunk before. I don't think there are times where that flood issue that you brought up is going to be where they need to be with Citizens, and we're going to have to add the flood.
Right.
And we are seeing that.
Or especially if a property that needs flood already, you know, then why not?
Yeah. But we have so many options now. So like a lot of times what we're doing, if it does come up and the Citizens does get to the renewal, then and it needs flood, we're showing them, hey, you can get the flood, or we can possibly move you over to this carrier. And if you don't want the flood, you know what I mean? Depending on the scenario, there's options. I mean, honestly, I think everyone around here should have flood. We're one really bad event away from everybody going, shit, I wish I bought flood insurance. You know, a lot of times when there is flooding, probably 50% of the flood is in an area that's never flooded before.
Right.
And they don't have the insurance. And so it's super important.
How's flood looking? It's, you know, you used to be able to $450 get it through FEMA, whatever, and it kind of it all went kind of private, you know, where it was like, oh, you know, even the FEMA coverage is.
Well, that's the good thing about flood, because so FEMA, they went to what they called NFIP 2.0 or FEMA 2.0. And so when they did that, it made it more based on the individual risk. So every home is like individually rated now, where before it was like, oh, you're not in a flood zone, your rate's $450.
Right.
You know, now it doesn't matter if you're in a flood zone or not in a flood zone. They're looking at your risk individually: distance to water, distance to coast, distance to the lake, distance to the river. You know, all your different flood risks. They're looking at topographical maps and trying to determine where's that water going to go. Okay, you're in a lower lying area than all your neighbors. Like, they see all that now. The technology is there, and they know that your flood risk. They can pretty much dial.
It literally
That's
goes off
insane.
the longitude, latitude of that home.
Correct.
And all that longitude and latitude is vital to that quote.
Yeah.
Wow.
It takes, it brings everything. And so, but what's great about, you know, the flood right now is like the private market has kicked in gear that, you know, we're competitive, you know? So, I mean, what could have been $4,000 with NFIP, I just got you down to 500, you know what I mean? Just, it's not.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So
Yeah, you can't
NFIP
compare.
rating the way they do now has opened up this huge private market. You know, before flood, it's still subsidized on the NFIP side, but the way they're rating things, the rate in a lot of scenarios is higher than the private market. So the private market has been able to step in and go, hey, now that rates are more geared towards that direct risk, we can compete. And so it's opened up a private market in flood that really hadn't been there. You know, it wasn't really there 5, 6, 7 years ago. And now it's most of our flood is going private now, because there's just a better market for it. And a lot of times it's better coverage.
Yeah.
They're offering things
placement.
that NFIP doesn't offer, you know, whether it's loss of use coverage, which, like with the NFIP, if it floods, they don't pay for you to live somewhere else. And a lot of private market carriers will have that coverage built in, you know, where they'll give you a loss of use and pay for you, because you're still going to have the mortgage payment.
Well, and which is kind of nice, because if you even if you file a claim on your flood insurance, chances are you're not going to be able to stay there until it gets fixed. Yeah.
Correct.
Right. It's a big deal.
Yeah. So there's a lot of coverages on the private side that are really good for people, and the rate has been very competitive. You know, it's less regulated than the NFIP. Like, the NFIP can only raise your rate so much. Private market can pretty much do what they want, you know, as far as that goes. But, like, there's just so much competition in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So if you get a
Very
private
helpful.
carrier and you get your renewal, there's no reason you can't shop it. You know what I mean? So you're not stuck, you know, with that like you used to be. If you wanted flood, it used to be like you got it from NFIP, and that's the only option in the marketplace. And that's just no longer the case now. So private carriers have really stepped up. They're offering really good product, good coverage, and we have it all. Like, that's what sets us apart here at Brightway, is the choice and options our customers have. You know, like, we are a home first kind of insurance company. I built this around homeowners insurance. You know, we then cross-sell the auto, boat, motorcycle, all your personal lines. But our number one focus is, let's get your home and then let's figure out how to protect the rest of it. And so like everything I do is trying to find every carrier that's available in the marketplace and making sure that my agents have those carriers and we have the products to offer.
Well, and that
And
it
so-
also fits our, Brightway motto too. We don't want just any carrier, right?
Yeah. But I mean, we definitely want the option.
Go with the general and save
Yeah.
some time.
yeah. But on the home side, I mean, I could say like, there's no reason for us ever to be beat on rate because we have every carrier option.
That's like us, so I know exactly how that, what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to have all those different investors and be able to say, hey, we're not a broker, so we're not going to charge you a borrower paid broker fee,
Mm-hmm.
but we have all these different investors, so we still make sure we can shop it around and get you the best deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing you guys have. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But no, that was a great question for flood because that is coming and it is on people's minds, especially if you have citizens. But I just want people to know they're not stuck. The market is improving drastically. And like if you are getting a renewal with citizens or they're making you get flood and it's something you don't really want or think you need, even though just in full disclosure, I do think you need flood insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about it. Let's see what your options are. And I really do think you need to be talking to a brokerage like us that has the product and knows the marketplace and is really geared towards home insurance because this is a very difficult home insurance market here in Florida, and you really got to be dealing with somebody that's got options and understands the marketplace and knows where you should be.
And that's able to kind of explain the different coverages to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like with me, with my own, the biggest thing to me, the most important piece to me isn't necessarily the premium. It's someone that can say, hey, here's what this coverage covers. Like, in other words, here's what this does, and here's the amount you need, and here's why.
Yeah.
That kind of explains and educates you because it's very intimidating to look at the coverages and go, I don't even know what all this means. Like,
Yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
It's I think that's the most fun in my job is to educate on like all of that stuff,
Mhm.
how it works and what you need. I mean, talk about assets and I mean a lot of people, agents, I mean you can call a 1-800 number and talk all day about liability, but they're not going to talk to you about assets. You know what I mean? And that's important. What you're
Right.
protecting.
Right,
And that's our most important job here is, to make sure we're protecting your most expensive and most biggest transactions of your life.
Yeah.
It's one of those things I always say, like, it's one of those things that you hope you never have to use, but you're sure glad you have it if you do.
100%. Yeah. It's pretty sad when you do have to use it though.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's another competitive advantage that we have. So in the Brightway model, our field offices, so I'm one of 400 plus franchises across the country. And in our model, it really allows our field offices to concentrate on new sales and growing their book of business. So I pay Brightway a lot of money to service our current book of business so that like I could be on vacation and our customers are getting taken care of because we have a service department of 200 plus people that are answering the phones that are very versed in what we do and are taking care of those customers, whether it's an auto change, whether it's a mortgagee change, whatever their need is on their current policy. Brightway handles all that and does a really good job servicing our existing customers. We get to focus on new sales, working with our new buyers, walking them through that policy. Like we have the time to do that because of our model and our setup. Where like a lot of the other agencies are set up where their salespeople might also be servicing half the book. And so they're just totally scrambling. They're just trying to get to the next thing and move on to the next conversation because they got, a mountain of stuff on their desk, right? Where we really get to focus on that buyer and that conversation and making sure that we're shopping the market and finding the best rate for that person because that's all we really focus on. My team only has to focus on helping our existing customers and our new customers find policies. And once we've found the policy and we get them locked into that, Brightway does an excellent job of taking that off our plate. And so like I feel like that's our competitive advantage of like being able to have that time to spend with each customer and making sure we're tailoring the policy correctly.
Right.
And I'll give ourselves a little bit of a plug. I'm just super proud of what we were accomplishing. I think we're getting ready to hit 900 Google or 5-star Google reviews. Like people think we're doing a good enough job to go to Google and talk about it. You know what I mean? Like that is so powerful to me.
That's awesome. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there's not another competitor that I can think of that has that many Google reviews. You know what I mean? And we got some really good competitors, by the way. There's some really good agents in this county that keep me on my toes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Same with our business too. Yeah. 100%.
But no, man, I'm really proud of what we're accomplishing, what we're doing. And yeah, man, we look forward to doing some more with you, dude.
Absolutely. You too. All right. So, now that we've got all that out of the way, let's talk about a topic just real quick. In today's market with the agents and all that, something that's really near and dear to their hearts. Flo from Progressive, or what's the guy's name from Allstate?
Oh, Jake from State Farm.
No, that's State Farm.
No, that's State Farm.
Who's the Allstate guy?
Mayhem.
Mayhem. There it is. Mayhem.
You asking what I like? My favorite?
Flo or Mayhem?
Flo all day long because we represent Flo. I don't represent those other two. So, Flo is our partner for sure. And
Go to Flo. All right.
And is our largest auto carrier. Yeah. And Progressive does a really good job of taking care of their customers, and they are our number one agent or our number one carrier for a reason.
All right. Cool.
That's funny.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun.
So I got one. So that's kind of the same thing. So like, there's a lot of online lenders on there, and as technology gets better and better and better, are you worried about technology and how it could affect your business and
good
more
question.
direct to consumer online stuff and all that, and kind of trying to cut you out, or is that?
So that's a great question, and that's a common question in our industry with everything that's AI right now. Right? Is AI eventually going to replace us? I believe the answer to that is no. I don't think the loan officer will ever get replaced. Like there's a big online lender. I won't say any names, but they launch them over at Cape Canaveral. And people are like, oh yeah, I'm shopping with them. I'm like, awesome. If you have all the experience and knowledge to be able to navigate your entire mortgage journey from start to finish, from origination to closing, by all means, do it yourself. Go through that. You're not going to have the dedicated help. And for one, they don't get paid when your loan closes. They get paid to give you a pre-approval. Yeah. So when you're wondering why those loans never close or get delayed or that kind of thing, well, that's why. The paycheck they're chasing is just giving you the letter up front, not when your loan closes.
They're playing for the client acquisition or the that lead almost.
Right.
Yeah.
But every single deal, every situation has its own set of hurdles or its own set of challenges or even like first-time buyers, right? You need someone to be able to explain the process at each step. This is what's happening now. This is why that's happening. Here's what you can expect next. And without that personal touch, if you want to go through that online lender, you're just not going to get that same kind of customer service. So in my opinion, I don't think our job as a loan officer is ever. I don't think we're replaceable.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think so either.
Yeah, you can't replace the human element.
Right.
No.
You just can't. So,
and same thing goes for your field. I mean,
absolutely.
You can go to like a Progressive.com. You can go straight to their website and pick out your own coverages. Does that mean you're picking the right coverage? No.
No, absolutely.
Because you need an expert to be able to guide you through it. So I think it's the same with you guys.
Well, the other challenge too, like when you go to Progressive, you're only going to Progressive. We have 13 auto carriers.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're shopping that market for you. Like, why would you just settle for one carrier when there's tons of other options in the marketplace you might be missing out on, right?
Right.
So, but man, I really appreciate you coming in here.
Yeah,
we like to end it with a quick lightning round.
Okay.
So we got a few here. Beach day or Disney day?
Disney.
Phone call or text?
Text.
First time home buyer or investor deal?
First time home buyer all day long.
Coffee or energy drink?
Coffee.
One financial habit everyone should start today.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Retirement savings.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Awesome, man. Hey, we appreciate you, Donny.
Yeah, that
You're
was
an
fun.
awesome guest, dude.
Thank you,
Super
guys.
confident in what you're talking about. which tells me you really know your
Big
stuff,
thank
man.
you.
So
Give Brittany
thank
my
you.
love.
I will. Thank you guys for having me. Have a great 2026. Let's go crush it.
Awesome, man.
Yes.
Let's get out of here.
All right.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Studio 321 podcast, powered by Brightway, the Steve Trout Agency. We can't thank you enough for being part of our journey. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with a friend. Until next time, 3, 2, 1, we're out.